Hello and welcome to our day three of our Thanksgiving travel updates. I'm weather and radar meteorologist James West. Becca Parker brought you through the first 2 days of the travel forecast update for this week, and I hope everybody is doing great. I hope everybody is doing great on this day. Today is considered the busiest travel day of the year across the U.S. As we head out to Thanksgiving. AAA estimates 80 million people will be on the roads or taking planes and trains across the U.S. today. And so let's go ahead and get into that forecast. And the first thing that I want to look at for you is just give you a general overview of the U.S. map across the U.S. One of the things that you'll notice on this surface analysis is that there's a large low pressure system stationary front that's kind of draped from across the eastern U.S., just north of just across upstate New York into the Great Lakes, and then also another system kind of over the Central Plains, and then another system from California into the Southwest and into Texas. So this is a little bit of a convoluted weather setup, but one of the things that we do see right here is that big low pressure system over New Mexico. That is the main weather driver for today. There are other things, and that system will also contribute to creating a very difficult problem across the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast as we head into Thanksgiving and into Friday as well. And then after that, we will actually start to get really, really cold. And so those are the highlights that we will be talking about today as we go through and look at the weather forecast as we go. So one of the things that I want to pull up today is our weather radar composite imagery. This is what it looks like right now across the U.S. And one of the main features that we see is in Denver. There's heavy snow falling in the Denver area. There's a few travel problems around there, extending out into the western plains of eastern Colorado and the plains of Nebraska. And then along that front that we showed you earlier, there's also some rain moving through Kansas City, just north of St. Louis and Indianapolis. So those are going to be the travel hotspots as we're going forward throughout today. We're actually going to go ahead and pull up today's forecast map, and we can watch as we move this a little bit forward, progress this along. We can see that the system continues to move eastward. Some heavy rain moves into Kansas City and into St. Louis as we head into later on throughout the afternoon and the evening hours, and then eventually it does move into the central Mississippi Valley. So those are the key areas of travel issues. Is going to be your wiper blades on full blast, slow down with the rain spray from all the way from eastern Ohio and Indiana into southern Illinois, into Missouri, and down into more of the central Mississippi Valley, and also into the Tennessee Valley. Where that rain is going to continue to fall throughout the day and into the evening hours. And then also another thing that we are also looking at is some light snow moving across the Dakotas, north of Minneapolis and the Twin Cities, and into the upper Midwest and the western Great Lakes. Now this snow is very light in nature, but as you can see with the temperatures there, the temperatures are in the 20s and low into the 20s. So that snow is actually, any snow that falls on the ground will stick to the roads and cause roads to become very slick in those areas. And so this is an area, if you're traveling up into the mountain, into the woods and the lakes in northern Minnesota, maybe going to a cabin for Thanksgiving break, be careful and slow down because the roads could be a little bit icy as we head into the the evening and over into the Thanksgiving period. The other thing that we are also seeing is also increasing cloudiness across the Mid-Atlantic, and then also across the western U.S. It's pretty clear sailing across most of the western U.S. There's a few showers, nothing really too bad across Seattle and into Portland and the Northwest. It is the time of the year where showers are very common in that area, and so just make sure you slow down a little bit and make sure you have your wiper blades on as well. So today's travel conditions are pretty pretty benign outside of the Denver area and the snow areas in the Rockies. And of course, if you're heading out into the Rockies to go a little bit skiing, we do see some snow resorts opening up, and you can look at the snow reports in our app. We do have a ski and mountain area the section that will show you what the conditions are in the mountains, those areas, which I'll show you a little bit later in this presentation. And then, so as we move on to tomorrow, one of the things that we were definitely going to be watching, I'm just going to bring this back a little bit closer to the beginning of the day. One of the things that we will see is this big major storm system, that same storm system that rolled across out of the Rockies into the central U.S. and now into the Ohio Valley. It will start to tap a lot of Gulf of Mexico moisture and also some Atlantic moisture. And as it moves through those areas, it's going to bring a lot of heavy rain to the Tennessee Valley overnight and into tomorrow morning. And then as we move along later into the day, we're going to have a lot of rain move into the mid-Atlantic area, all along the I-85 and I-95 corridor from Atlanta and Charlotte northward into Richmond and Washington and Philadelphia, New York and Boston. So if you have outdoor plans, you might want to consider bringing them inside. And if you need to be outside, you're going to do a turkey trot, or maybe even attend the parade in New York City, bring your rain gear as this storm really develops and brings a lot of heavy rain. And of course, these areas, any other time of the week besides Thanksgiving, this would be a really beneficial rain for these areas. A lot of these areas are in drought conditions, so this is a half full, half empty kind of thing. Might ruin a few outdoor plans for Thanksgiving, but it is going to bring some much needed water for these areas that are under strong and even extreme drought conditions this late into the year. And the other thing that we are also seeing as we push later into the afternoon and evening hours, we see that those dark pink areas in upstate New York and northern Pennsylvania, those are areas where heavy snow is going to fall. Some of the mountain areas of the Poconos and the Berkshires and the Catskills are going to see maybe 7 to 10 inches of snow in those areas. So it's definitely, if you're traveling in those areas, you got to make sure you have winter gear winter gear in the car, and just be prepared to slow down and give the snowplows plenty of distance as we go further along into the day. And so the other feature, and as we move along later into the Thanksgiving holiday, that snow moves into northern New England. Same situation as we saw in the Catskills in upstate New York and into the Adirondacks. It's going to be a heavy snow. It's going to be a wet snow. So make sure you slow down, be prepared for those wintry conditions. Whereas in the southern New England, it's still going to be a very cold, heavy rain. That's just going to make any outdoor activities, any Turkey Thanksgiving Day football games a little bit of a muddy mess. So be prepared for that. At least it's not going to be too bad on the cold side yet, because that is a preview for as we look further into the rest into Friday and Saturday. We're going to see big temperature changes across more of the U.S. And so, but continuing on Thanksgiving Day, we are seeing a cold front move across the southeast into the Gulf of Mexico, and so there will be a line of showers that are also pushing through. You can definitely see that there's a dramatic temperature change among that cold front. We have 70-degree temperatures in Augusta at this time, and 59 degrees in Atlanta at 1 p.m. tomorrow afternoon Eastern time. So there definitely is a dramatic change in the temperature. And then once again, we have the upper Midwest seeing some cold, very sporadic snow falling, but it's going to stick to the ground because of the cold temperatures that are up there. The western U.S., we are definitely looking good for plenty of clear skies, not much trouble outside of a few mountain snow showers in the northern Rockies. So it's going to be a pretty nice day to be outside in Los Angeles and Phoenix, where temperatures are going to be in the low 70s. Even San Francisco is going to be almost 60 degrees, which is sweater weather, but it's still very nice. Even Seattle might even see some sunshine on Thanksgiving, so that's definitely some good news for them. But as I was talking about earlier, we're definitely going to start seeing some wintry temperatures tomorrow, starting tomorrow. As I pull up the temperature radar, we can see that the northern Dakotas are starting to really start to see this cold Arctic air that's going to start oozing down into the U.S. from Canada. -6 up here in central Canada, whereas it's 14 in North Dakota and South Dakota. So we're just going to see teens and 20s tomorrow in those areas. It's going to cool down across the east with that cold front. You can definitely see the cold front reflected in the temperatures, with 60 in Richmond, 54 in Washington as the cold front kind of go through, whereas the 430s and 40s across in Columbus and Indianapolis and Louisville and Chicago is going to struggle to get above freezing tomorrow. And then as we look towards Friday, this is when we start to see a lot of that cold air move southward. As we see the cold night, as we pull back to early Friday morning, we can see the cold night developing and the cold air oozing southward as freezing temperatures reach all the way down into Nashville and into Memphis and into Oklahoma City and parts of northern Texas. And then as we go throughout the rest of the day, we do see some warm up, but the temperatures are definitely 10 degrees cooler than they would be on Thanksgiving in places like Washington and New York and Boston. So that's definitely what we'll see. And then on Saturday, it's cold. It's going to be cold in a lot of places. And one of the other things that we will see starting on Saturday, as we pull up the wind forecast on Saturday, is a lot of western flow coming off the Great Lakes, which means we're going to see our first widespread lake effect snow events in many of these areas. And these are actually, the lake effect bands are showing up on our weather radar on Saturday. We can see right here in the areas of western Pennsylvania and northeastern Ohio and northwestern Pennsylvania, and then also in the Tug Hill Plateau of New York, we're going to have a fair amount of lake effect snows. And these are the type of bands where 20 miles difference could mean the difference between a couple inches of snow and a couple feet of snow. And this is going to persist. And then we also are seeing it in northern Michigan and the upper peninsula of Michigan as that cold Arctic air swoops down across the western Great Lakes and into Michigan and the Great Lakes. We also on Saturday we'll see a quick little system moving across the southern plains here, bringing some light snow, and a couple of bursts of snow into the St. Louis area and possibly even into the Kansas City area. And that's just right there on that edge of that really cold air that's coming down across the east central and eastern U.S. on Saturday. This trend will continue on Sunday. Looking back into the west, that cold air also reaches into the Rockies. It's going to be very cold. A lot of these places also would have received on today and Thursday and Friday have received a significant amount of snowfall. So that the snow helps make the temperature even colder. So that's why we are seeing these teens and 20s and even single digits in Colorado and everywhere else. But at least as we look forward to the day on that first day of December, we will see some fair amount of sunshine across the western U.S. outside of maybe a few showers moving into the southern Sierras and some cloud cover across the southwest. And so, those are the big stories. The rest of the U.S. is going to be sunny. The warmest spots will continue to be across the southeast. Florida is going to see a little bit of that cold front move through on Saturday and late Friday. So we're going to see a pretty dynamic difference in temperature. Miami is going to be in the upper 70s, whereas Tampa could be in the 60s on Saturday as that cold front kind of settles down. We see that cold front move in on Friday. where it brings in some showers and maybe even a few rumbles of thunder across southeastern Florida. Um, as you go shopping on Black Friday, you can definitely see the temperature changes with the 60s and 50s in Jacksonville, whereas Miami stays in the low 70s. And so there's going to be a pretty dramatic line in southeastern Florida for those areas of concern. So I'm going to check the chat to see if there's any questions about the forecast. We're about 15 minutes in, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to go through a couple more forecast maps as we look later on towards the new work week and the travel day on Sunday. We can go ahead and do that. So there's no comments on the chat right now, but so on Saturday, as we go later into the day into Sunday, again, lake effect snow is going to be the biggest weather. Even some of the snow will make it into upstate New York and into the mountains of northern New England on Saturday. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull up a forecast map. One of the model forecasts here. Okay, so this is the model forecast, and again, this is showing what we're seeing on Thursday with the heavy snow moving across northern New England with the temperature difference producing the rain. But I'm going to go ahead and advance it to Sunday, and as we go into travel, what we're seeing on Sunday is, again, we're seeing that very cold Arctic air. These blues here are going to keep diving well into the south. So we're going to see very cold temperatures deep in the southeast, probably freezing temperatures into the interior southeast. So some agricultural interests might be interested, might need to cover up some of the plants and people who might need to winterize some outdoor water pipes for this colder air that's coming in on Sunday. Another thing that's also being noted is this quick little snow burst. This is an Alberta Clipper. So an Alberta Clipper is a system that comes through, rides along the jet stream, usually develops over Canada. That's why we get the name of Alberta Clipper. It looks like it's more coming out of the northern Rockies in this instance. It's going to take a nice southern dive, bringing that quick burst of snow on Sunday into the Ohio Valley and the Appalachians. These systems can usually produce an inch or two of snow, but just enough to cause some travel troubles on the roads, as people aren't expected to see a quick burst of snow, and with the ground being cold, it will quickly make the roads slippery and accumulate a little ice on those roads. And again, the other thing that we're seeing a lot of in our forecast is the lake effect snow. All these blues right here going downwind from the Great Lakes. Great Lakes are still very warm. We're in November. We're going to see a lot of snow in those areas heading into Sunday. And that will continue well into the Monday time period and it will start to actually shift the lake effect into more of a northwestern pattern. So different parts of Pennsylvania into New York is going to see some lake effect snowfall in those areas as well, even into Pittsburgh and definitely into Cleveland. And so that's going to be the trend going through the rest of early next week, is that cold Arctic air is going to stick around across the northeast, central plains, and then into the south. The western U.S. is going to be slightly on the warm side, but still going to be, and there's not going to have a lot of weather going on for that as well. So that's all that I have for today. I wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and I hope that you enjoyed these presentations over the last 3 days of our travel updates. Make sure that as you go through the weekend, you check out our weather news section for the latest weather that is going on across the U.S. And remember that you can also use our app to get the latest forecast. Like in Denver, you can see the 90-minute forecast of light snow occurring across the U.S., across Denver, and you can pull up the same weather radar that we were just using. So here is the weather radar. You can see the heavy snow, And as we scroll down, you can also see the ski forecast. Right here, mountain conditions. Right here, you click here, you can see the weather at Echo Mountain. And it's showing the morning temperatures. It tells you how much sun duration. It tells you how much the wind gusts are in those areas, and also it tells you some of the conditions on the depths and everything else. And so, be sure to check out everything as you go. And wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. And we'll have plenty of coverage all weekend long. And thank you very much. Have a great, happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next week.